There's another bet being made, and this is about whether President Trump is going to try to take over Greenland, and if so, how. He has those designs on the island. His announcement that Venezuela will be sending tens of millions of barrels of crude oil to the U.S., the other big topic of the morning in Washington. We're going to go over to Eamon Javers right now, who's got the latest on Greenland, Venezuela, and so much more, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. President Trump announced last night on social media that the interim authorities in Venezuela will send between 30 and 50 million barrels of oil to the United States. This oil will be sold at its market price, and that money will be controlled by me as President of the United States of America to ensure it is used to benefit the people of Venezuela and the United States, the president said. I have asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright to execute this plan immediately. It will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. That from the President of the United States last night on social media. Now, it's not clear whether this is to be a one-time payment or an ongoing program, and who exactly the president concluded this agreement with in Venezuela. White House officials did not respond to our questions about the president's post last night. Now, separately, guys, as you mentioned late yesterday, the White House raised the prospect of using military force to take Greenland from Denmark and make it a U.S. territory, a move that threatens a direct confrontation between two NATO allies for the first time in history. Now, in a statement, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States, and it's vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. The president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. Now, Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen Tuesday responded to this increasing belligerence from the Trump administration, saying, I believe he means it, and adding, the international community as we know it, democratic rules of the game, NATO, the world's strongest defensive alliance, all of that would collapse if one NATO country chose to attack another. Now, the Wall Street Journal guys reported Tuesday that Secretary of State Marco Rubio told lawmakers in a closed-door session that the bellicose comments don't signal an imminent invasion, but that the administration's goal here is to buy Greenland from Denmark. Now, those comments from Marco Rubio came up on Capitol Hill in that closed-door session before we saw that on-the-record statement from Caroline Leavitt raising the prospect of military action. So you do get the sense that at least rhetorically, the White House and the State Department are not entirely on the same page here, guys. Back over to you.
So, Eamon, let's go through both stories for a moment here. Let's go first on the oil front. Is it possible that there's an agreement with anybody in Venezuela about this oil? Who ultimately has to refine such oil? What would be the...
We refine it here. They just send the oil.
I understand that, but the question is that we're just commandeering.
What do you mean we would refine it?
We're commandeering the oil
and then we're
sending it here, and then we're handing it. We're just handing it to which company, or which companies? How would this even begin to work?
All of that unclear, Andrew. And as I say, the White House didn't respond to my questions last night about this. One of the big sort of first principle questions is, what is this a payment for? Right? Did the United States agree to anything on its side in exchange for this oil? And we just don't know that. We don't know who this agreement was struck with. Was this the now acting president of Venezuela, Rodriguez, who signed off on this deal?
But do we believe it was signed off on?
Commit to anything in exchange for that?
Do we think there was a signed-off deal of any sort at all?
We don't know. We'll have to see what Venezuela has to say today. Yeah. We'll have to see what Venezuela has to say today. I mean, you've seen this in the past with trade deals with President Trump, where he has said that the other side of the transaction has agreed to things, and then we just can't get confirmation from the other side that they agreed to that particular thing for days or sometimes weeks.
And it also suggests that they're in agreement.
We'll
if it's a payment for taking Maduro, for example, from them, that would suggest that there are people in that government.
No, she was a Maduro ally.
Is it a payment
that's why it doesn't make sense.
Look, is it a payment for...
The question is, what is it a payment for?
Yeah, is it a payment for some of the things that were
nationalized? For her being able to stay... she's not the leader of choice, obviously, because she's still a Maduro ally.
So this is a mafia situation. I'll let you stay if you give me oil.
But let you stay, but you have to.
That's the question. Was there an agreement here by the U.S.?
You have to guarantee free and fair elections within the next year, I think they said. Eamon, John Thune, the majority leader, said there's no serious talk about a military intervention in Greenland.
Well, I mean, there was serious talk by the White House press secretary on the record yesterday.
I know.
That's not going to be the case.
I don't know whether he can. That's the view, I think, in the Republican Party more than and this could be more negotiating with a lot of bluster on the front end and really wanting to buy. But then people point out we owe $40 trillion right now. I mean, we could probably get the money to buy Greenland. The Journal says that. Says why do you want it? Just you can get closer to Greenland, get everything you want without doing this.
Right, and without
maybe this is
military incursion. Seems like
maybe this is just. You ask for the world and you settle for.
But if this is the case, why doesn't the White House just say this is?
Because they never do. You've been watching it. You had 4 years to watch this stuff play out the first time, and now you've had another year this time.
Do you find
it's never going to satisfy?
Is that defensible?
It's never going to satisfy. It's never going to be defensible for you. But you just should.
But you're saying it's defensible for you?
With a cat, sooner or later, when you clap, the cat just goes like this. With you, it's the same reaction every time.
Yes.
I know. Well, but eventually.
It's got to be.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to lull you to sleep.
But why when the Biden administration clapped, you were already like this? So that's what I mean. That's the only difference.
The only thing I will say is the NATO reaction. It's not a situation where you want to completely alienate your allies.
This is true. This is true. It's on the same tectonic plate as the United States. I mean, it's really. It's not on the European.
Guys, one quick question here.
This is very old, but it does look almost like imperialistic.
Guys, one quick question.
That mindset.
Eamon?
Yeah, I was just going to say one quick question that folks raised with me. I was talking to two former high-ranking U.S. intelligence officials last night, and when you talk about a NATO ally attacking another NATO ally, that's the end of the NATO alliance. That's a huge division between the United States and Europe. And one of the questions that they raised with me is whether or not the U.S. military would follow an order by the President of the United States to attack a NATO ally in a war of territorial aggression. Given the questionable legality of that, would U.S. military leaders execute an order from the President? Remember, the U.S. military trains alongside the forces from Denmark in Greenland, so a lot of those folks in the U.S. military who are in Greenland know their counterparts in the other military very closely and have trained with them for years. Would they follow an order to then shoot those people? That's an open question here. And the fact that you're looking at that is very, very stark and dramatic. And I think the White House has really raised a whole host of big, big questions here. Right.
Now you sound like how many Democrats were there? Mark Kelly is dealing with still the repercussions of saying don't follow orders from the commander-in-chief as well. Now we know also, Eamon, that there were deaths down in that operation, and just apparently once again affirmed by the Trump administration, no American deaths, but Cuban and 60 or so deaths in the extracting.
I think the report yesterday was 75.
75 extracting Maduro.